Welcome to A Word of Hope. I'm Brother Edward, coming to you from Madison, Wisconsin, on this Wednesday of the second week of Lent, February 28th. Today's gospel has one of these unique human characteristics that can be enjoyable if you really step and think about it from a very natural human perspective. Here we have the mother of James and John, who have been somewhat favored throughout the gospel with Peter. On many occasions they're set apart, but she's even more ambitious than that privileged role that they have been playing among the apostles. So she asks that both of her sons be allowed to sit at the right hand of Jesus when he enters his kingdom, the place of honor, if you will. So you can't fault her for being ambitious for her children, but it creates a little bit of turmoil, as you could well imagine. You could think of yourself in a classroom where a child wants to be special over the others. The teacher would fall into that, would cause greater stir and division among the children. So that happens among the disciples. They're somewhat irritated, to say the least. But Jesus takes as an opportunity to explain the dynamics of the kingdom of God. And we think of it in our natural way of life. It is a challenge for us as well, because Jesus is teaching us that the true honorific position is that of the servant, the one who is emptying him or herself out to others through acts of charity, compassion, and generosity. And this is something that disciples haven't figured out for themselves, because they're not against having an honorary seat. They're just upset that James and John are going to get it, because they wouldn't mind having it either. But what was really happening here is Jesus is, if you will, upsetting the cultural and religious expectations of the people and showing them the new dawn of the kingdom of God. Father Albert Nolan, who worked for many years in South Africa and was a great student of the person Jesus, once told me, he said, we often think of Jesus turning things upside down, if you will, flipping things. But in fact, what Jesus is doing is putting them right side up. We, in our cultural humanity with its limitations, have distorted the kingdom of God, if you will. We have flipped it over and created new expectations that we feel are legitimate and worthy. But in fact, Jesus is calling us to rethink our culture, rethink the way we organize our meritorious system, if you will, and to see that the servant is the one who is honored. And for this reason, I find it very fascinating that the highest title of the Holy Father is the servant of the servants of God. And we too are called to be the servants of God. So today in our Lenten practice, let us take a critical look at ourselves and see if we can purge ourselves or right-side ourselves from false ambitions and focus on the true ambitions of the kingdom of God in our lives.